Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Toe the Line. Today, we're going to discuss a couple of follow-ups on some videos on some information that I have been told or that I've received. And also, we're going to listen to some audio recordings involving a video last week that I posted in reference to the accident. So let's get started. Last week, I posted a video in reference to an accident involving a Mr. Harrelson, and he had reached out to me thanks to people here in Jacksonville told him about my page. He reached out to me, asked me for some help and for some advice, and so I gave it to him. Watched the video and thought it just wasn't a good investigation. So go back to last week's video with Officer Darian Farmer, and please watch it if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, that video was posted, I do believe, on a Monday. I think I posted it. And then Tuesday, he was contacted Tuesday afternoon, sometime, maybe early evening. I'm not exactly for sure, but he was contacted by a Lieutenant Steve Boutnick, who's one of the patrol lieutenants up there and also happens to be the lieutenant, for my understanding, for Darian Farmer. Now, I just want to say thank you to the viewers, because I don't know, exactly how this happened. I don't know exactly what caused this to happen, but it just amazes me that after a day of my video, and I've been told by several people up there at the police department, my viewers or my informants or people that are giving me information or whatever you want to call them, that there's officers up there that watch my videos. There's people that are following my page that show the captains and the chief watches it, I'm sure, and they all talk smack about it and so forth, and talk about how I'm wrong, and so forth, because hey, I was fired from the police department, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But I went through this video last week, and I kind of stopped it and played it and stopped it and played it, and talked about some different aspects of what I believe was not a proper investigation. I'm not saying that Officer Farmer is a bad officer. I'm not saying that he deserves to be wrote up or any of those things. But what I do see was a very huge lack of investigation or proper investigation of the scene. Now, um, you know, I I just find it very hard to believe that it was the same day, full day, that my video went viral or went out there on YouTube, where all of a sudden he's getting a phone call from a Lieutenant Steve Boutnick, and they're talking about how they're going to, or how Steve Boutnick and the police department and Darian Farmer have now investigated this accident one step further, um, and used a traffic camera. So I've got a copy of the audio recording. So I'm going to go ahead and play it now for you guys. I want you to listen. It's about 4 minutes. So just listen to it. Listen to, again, this is Mr. Harrelson, the driver of Vehicle 1 in the accident report, and also Lieutenant Steve Boutnick of the Jacksonville Police Department. And we'll discuss it afterwards.
Starting date, January 28th, 2025, 19 hours, 42 minutes, and 7 seconds.
Hello, Mr. Harrelson?
Yes, it is.
Hi, this is Lieutenant Boutnick with the Jacksonville Police Department. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. What did you say your last name was, sir?
Balconet?
Okay. I used to.
It's one of those names. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. We were looking into the accident that you have been involved in on the 19th.
Yes, sir.
And we were able to pull our traffic camera video footage for that just barely picked up where the accident occurred.
Okay.
Due to the distance, but we were able to determine that you were not at fault for that accident.
Now, he said they were able to determine off of a traffic camera footage. Now, I don't know how many citizens of Jacksonville are aware of this, but supposedly there's like 40 something traffic cameras, crime cameras, shot spotters, whatever you want to call them, placed all over this city. And I can almost guarantee it that they were not going to go back and look at that traffic camera footage until my video went out there on YouTube. I could be wrong. I'm not saying it was because of me, okay? But this accident report was filed on the 19th. They found him at fault in the accident. No further investigation, no further, but they have access. Lieutenants or captains or somebody have access to these traffic cameras or these crime cameras or these cameras that they put up in high crime areas. And it just so happens that this camera that was put up was by Taco Bell, because Taco Bell seems to be a pretty hot area, or it has been, when it comes to shootings. Now, again, I don't know if that camera just got lucky and pointed toward the intersection of Loop and North First, or was it, already pointed that direction, or does it stay pointing that direction? But it's a good thing to know, there, citizens of Jacksonville, that if you get involved in an accident, the Jacksonville Police Department need to start pulling these traffic cameras up and start looking at them if they have them available. The officers need to have access to it so that they can look at this information and maybe not write people tickets that aren't in the wrong. So let's go ahead and continue the conversation here.
Well, I'd like to say thank you then, because I wouldn't.
Right, and the statements that were made during the accident, the statements that were written, it all was a little bit confusing. But with the video footage, we were definitely able to determine that you were already established in that inside lane and not in the turning lane.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is Officer Farmer is going to contact the court and have the citation that he issued you voided.
Okay.
We've already done the corrections to the accident report, so if you have gotten a copy of it, you'll need to get another copy, or just let your insurance company know that things have changed.
All right.
And Mr. Christians, that was the other driver, is going to be issued citation for probably unsafe lane change.
Okay.
And then, of course, insurances will deal with damage repairs.
Reflect that. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I need to come by there tomorrow sometime to pick up the new accident report.
Yes, Officer Farmer is working on getting all the corrections made right now.
Okay.
And then you can stop by and just let them know that you just need to pick up a corrected copy of the accident report. And we should be able to get that all squared away by morning.
Well, I surely thank you for calling, and I'll call Mom and let her know.
Yeah, and we apologize. These things happen. We got a in Officer Farmer's defense. He is a newer officer. He's got about a year in service. So and even with me, I've been doing this for 22 years. I have days where I look at accidents and try to figure out how in the world did that happen.
So my dad was captain of the auxiliary for 14 years. And,
was he?
Okay, so, in my opinion, maybe that's a little bit heartfelt of apology. Maybe they're having to eat a little crow. Maybe they realized, oh, we messed up. Maybe they realized we're getting heat from John Alberson's videos. Maybe they realized, after looking at it, that, hey, it's not right. 1-year officer, let's give him an excuse, say he's only been there for a year. When I was at the police department for a year, I'd worked quite a few accidents by then. That's not an excuse. 22-year-old lieutenant, or 22-year veteran lieutenant, giving an excuse, hey, these things happen. I just want to know how many times they've looked at the traffic cams to see if these tickets that are being wrote are actually the right tickets, or, given to the right people. the right ones, the guilty ones, the ones that were at fault in accidents? Um, are they looking at these traffic cams for other reasons? Or are they just there to look pretty? And if somebody gets shot, or, there's a mugging, or, an aggravated robbery or whatever, is that what they're looking at them for? Because again, this accident happened on the 19th, and this was just earlier this week where these phone calls were made. That one was made again by Lieutenant Steve Boutnick, okay, patrol lieutenant. Obviously, you heard him. He's 22-year veteran of the police department there. And he called Mr. Harrelson up and gave the apology. Hey, we screwed up. After further investigation, and after looking at the traffic cam footage, and we found out that you're not at fault. But the statements that were made that night and the statements that were written, were kind of confusing. I didn't think so. I didn't think they were confusing because the right questions weren't asked. The right type of investigation wasn't done. My opinion, solely my opinion. Again, like it, hate it, comment on it, whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. But later on in the week, he received another phone call. And this phone call was from a Chief Brett Hibbs. Chief Hibbs had been out of the state, I guess, or out of town on a conference. Got back from the conference, and he was homesick, from my understanding in this audio. So we're going to play this, and I want you to hear the two types of apologies, or maybe lack of apology from Chief Hibbs, or, you can tell a little bit of a change in his voice, because in my opinion, I think he's getting a little bit aggravated because he maybe doesn't know that Lieutenant Boutnick called. Maybe he doesn't know that everything's already been taken care of because he was out of pocket. He was out sick, and he was out of state or out of town. So just everybody listen to this and tell me what you think in the comments.
Starting date, January 29, 2025, 10 hours, 20 minutes, and 59 seconds.
It's Mr. Harrelson.
Yes, it is.
Hey, this is Chief of Police Brett Hibbs.
How are you doing, Mr. Hibbs?
I'm doing as good as I can. I was out of state last week, and I wasn't in the office, and then I got back, got sick. And today's my first day back.
Okay.
And I just now, well, it's a little rough, but I've been gone a week and a half, so I got a lot of work building up. But I just got your message.
Okay. Well, I think we've gotten the situation, I believe, rectified. Lieutenant Botnick, did I say that correct?
Botnick. Mm-hmm.
Well, he called me yesterday evening, about 7, and said that the ticket had been voided. They had reviewed some traffic camera footage, and that I was in the right. I was right about as far as how the accident happened, and the other gentleman was in the wrong. And hey, I'm on the phone. Anyway, I'm supposed to come by today and pick up a revised accident report. Is that what you're aware of?
Well, I think that's what I heard this morning. Yeah, I was getting caught up on things.
The reason I was wanting to talk to you, Chief, is because you know who my family is, and I know who yours is as well, and I've met you a couple times, and my mom was just tore up about this because, she breathes and bleeds Jacksonville. And she just really didn't want me to have our last name tarnished in some kind of thing, even though I was in the right. So I was just wanting to talk to you about what had happened and go from there. And it seems that it's kind of cured itself.
Well, being involved in an accident and getting a ticket is not tarnishing your name, really.
No, what was going to tarnish the name was because I was going to fight it.
Oh, no, that's not going to. That's your right. That's what we would expect you to do if you don't agree with it.
Right.
no problem with that. What I'll tell you that on this one, and patrol captain looked at it, and I guess they went back and forth, and they had to talk to the officer. And Boutnick is the lieutenant on that shift. He was not working the day of this accident.
No, he wasn't.
They went back and investigated it. So from what they can tell is based on the statement that you wrote and the other driver wrote, the officer made the right decision. However, when they went back and looked for some video to try to show, a better picture of it, it showed that you were in the right. So I'm not saying the officer was wrong. It was probably wrong decision what they determined, but at the time, he believed it was right. So I'm not saying he was right, but I'm not saying he was wrong. It just took more investigation.
Chief Hibbs, you're not saying he was right. You're not saying he was wrong. Okay, we totally get it. I've filed complaints on a couple of people up there at that police department, and you don't want to admit wrongdoing. You don't want to admit that your police department or your police officers or your sergeants or your lieutenants or captains or whoever up there might not be doing the job the way you want them to. There's been previous recordings that we already know you can't get your police officers to make traffic stops and write tickets using the F word. You can't even get them to come to work. So I don't understand, it was wrong. Officer Farmer was wrong. Y'all are sitting here trying to figure this out. The captain got involved, the lieutenant got involved. Why? Why did they get involved on a simple accident? Because you've made it perfectly clear, hey, if your officers do something wrong, arrest somebody the wrong way, or violate somebody's rights, or you do something along those lines, if you make a wrongful arrest or your department makes a wrongful arrest, your officers make a wrongful arrest, it's up for the courts to decide that. So why now do all the investigation behind the scene where a patrol captain gets involved, talks to the officer, goes back and forth several times, evidently, gets the patrol lieutenant involved that's on the shift and goes back and forth or whatever, and then miraculously finds this traffic cam footage that proves Mr. Harrelson in the right? I think you're snowballing here. I think you're trying to cover up the fact that, hey, this is the deal. You were wrong. Your officer was wrong. You don't like these videos. You don't like, opinions. You have whatever. And so, again, I don't know if because my video came out, but I can put 2 and 2 together and it equals 4 in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. So let's go ahead and finish listening.
But I would also encourage you.
I do believe that Officer Farmer was probably the most professional.
He was.
As far as way he carried himself, the way he talked to us.
Yeah.
Yep. He was very professional.
But I do believe that he didn't really do no investigation.
There you go.
But we can go back and forth on that all day, and I just believe I was wrong. Oh, excuse me, I was wrong. And the other gentleman who was driving, just from the very get-go, that man could push your button. If you didn't know you had a button, he'd figure out how to push your button, and he was pushing mine for 35 minutes while we waited on Officer Farmer to show up.
The other driver?
Yes.
What was his name,
Brett Christian.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Botnick said that they're transferring the ticket to him.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, should have been his to begin with.
Well, at the scene of an accident on the side of the road, the officer has to take what information he has. This one involved going back later and reviewing some video which showed a different picture than what he had. So, if that's what he had at the time, you don't agree with it, I would always encourage you to go to court and give your side in a fair environment like that.
Right.
What I'm saying is I don't make a habit of going back and undoing tickets because the court process is there for that.
Well, I do remember.
Bingo. You've said it before in audio recordings, and you're going to say it again. You don't make it a habit. That's what the courts are there for, Chief Hibbs. You said it. The courts are there to correct your mistakes or your department's mistakes or your officer's mistakes. Internal Affairs isn't going to correct those mistakes. Lieutenants and sergeants aren't going to correct those mistakes, and they're not going to train them better. They're not going to sit down and talk with them. They're not going to help them become better police officers. We're going to leave it up to the courts. And you don't make it a habit to go back and change tickets. They were wrong. The officer was wrong. You did more of an investigation. You went and found a traffic camera. Your captain did, or your lieutenant did, found a traffic camera, and you corrected the ticket. You did what was right. So if somebody else comes up and complains on a ticket, you're not going to go into that great depth of trying to find a traffic camera, or maybe training your officers a little bit better, or getting them a little bit more experience on accident investigations, or how to ask questions from all the people involved, not just the two drivers. How about the passenger? Yeah, you got statements, but you didn't even read them. You confirmed he confirmed half the information or a part of the information on the driver of vehicles two, the vehicle two, the Dodge, after Mr. Harrelson drove off. So this is ridiculous. Why don't you just admit you made a mistake? Why don't you just admit your department made a mistake and you're sorry? You apologize. People make mistakes. Officers make mistakes. It's not, I'm not saying that Darian Farmer or Officer Farmer did this intentionally. And I'm glad that Lieutenant Steve Bowden had called up there, or called Mr. Harrelson. And he was very professional and apologized for it and explained it. But you are seeming like you're almost offended that you had to call Mr. Harrelson. You're not even sounding like you care about this phone conversation, and that a citizen in your city was wronged, or potentially wronged, or would have had to pay for an attorney and fight a ticket because you don't normally do this. We're not in the habit of doing this. That's crap. Because I can tell you in 21 years, Chief Hibbs, there was several times where I was contacted and told to drop tickets, or, hey, I got a friend of mine, or this or that, and call the court's office and have the ticket reduced to a warning or a city ordinance violation or whatever. So don't sit here and act like y'all don't do this for people and that you're not in the habit of doing it. Because I believe the officers are. All right, let's keep going.
Many years ago, and this is like probably when your father was a patrolman, the one and only.
Well, that just goes into some personal conversation between Mr. Harrelson and Chief about family and everything else, and I'm not going to put that on there. So y'all have the basics when it comes to how a lieutenant calls Mr. Harrelson and how it sounds when the chief calls Mr. Harrelson. The lieutenant actually sounded like he cared a little bit. He was very sympathetic about it. But in my opinion, the chief, every time I've heard him on a phone call, it is his way or the highway. And he's not even really sure what happened. He went over it a little bit, getting caught up in the morning or something along those lines, wasn't really prepared to make this phone call, or wasn't really prepared to, explain everything to Mr. Harrelson, or to say, hey, anything we can do, Mr. Harrelson, we're here to help you out. We're here to help the citizens out. We're here to make sure that our officers, our canine officers, our sergeants, our lieutenants, our detectives, our captains, I'm here to make sure that everything that they do to the fullest of my ability is going to be, hey, we're here to serve the public. We're here to, help you guys out and ladies out and so forth. And if, instead of just pushing it over like you did in the conversation with me on the phone, where you say, hey, if an officer makes a wrong arrest or violates somebody's rights, or wrongfully arrests somebody for obstruction, or resisting arrest per se, you just leave it to the courts. It's the court's decision to decide whether or not the officers did wrong, and you represent the officers. and the mayor represents the city, and none of y'all seem to understand this. And I hope you continue to get flack from whoever calls up there, or files complaints, or whatever else, because there needs to be change. And speaking of change, let's go into the second update. So a couple of weeks ago, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now, there was a video released involving a Sergeant Coburn of the Jacksonville Police Department, along with city bail bonds, that went into a hotel room, a wrong hotel room. The key didn't work. When the small child opened the door, the bondsman rush in and knock the kid over, and the bondsman go in. Go back a couple of weeks, and it's on my page, it's on the Random Patriots page, in reference to the city bail bonds company. You hear a lot of profanities, a lot of threats, and everything else. Jacksonville Police Department Sergeant Coburn and I believe Officer Lambert just walked away from the scene after they finally went to the second room, which was the right room, and illegally searched. In my opinion, they didn't have a search warrant. The bondsman said, "Hey, you can go in there if you want to and see if you can find anything." But just minutes before that, Coburn says, "We're going to stand outside. We're not going to do anything. We're here to assist." But then he totally backtracks on his own statement. But anyway, the update is from my understanding, because Sergeant Coburn has been getting so much flack on his videos, he's been getting so much heat toward the Jacksonville Police Department, Sergeant Coburn was removed from the streets and placed in support services. Great. You placed him in support services. But here's my question to you, Chief Hibbs. Here's my question to you, Captain Betterton. Sergeant Coburn's the most honest person up there, Chief Hibbs. He's never done anything wrong in the complaints that I filed. You found nothing wrong. You found no wrongdoing. He was exonerated on all the complaints. You just couldn't find any wrongdoing in him because he's so honest. But if he's so honest, why pull him off the streets? Why put him in support services? Why put him over vehicle maintenance and uniforms and quartermaster position and everything, from my understanding? I mean, I do have people up there talking. I do have people that are tired of the abuse, and they're tired of the threats, and they're tired of the leading by fear. Okay? They don't know which way to go. They don't want to come to you. They don't want to go to the captains, because I do know the captains have made it perfectly clear that they're on a manhunt. They're on a manhunt to find out who's giving John Alberson and any other person out there on YouTube that they can reach out to information. Well, I'm not giving up my informants. Okay? I'm not giving up the people that trust me to call me and talk to me, or send me text messages and talk to me, because that's their right. You can't control what they do on their off time. You can't control what they do. They're not happy. Maybe they should leave. Maybe they're trying to leave. Maybe there's 5 or 6, 10, 15 people up there that are trying to leave the department. I don't know. That's their business. But I do know that the command staff, and Mayor, if you watch these videos, maybe you might want to have a meeting with your command staff and find out exactly what's going on. Or maybe have a meeting with your lieutenants, your sergeants, and your patrolmen separately, individually, and really find out what's going on if you cared about what's going on in that police department. Because captains are on a manhunt, and from my understanding, the PD's on lockdown. They're not giving out any information. They're trying to stop all the information that's coming out of there. They're trying to find out whoever's doing it. But I've received also information within the last, 2 weeks, and might blow your mind. It kind of blew my mind. But is Jacksonville Police Department, are they going to be getting a new police chief? Is from my understanding, people have said that maybe Captain Ryan Wright is in some type of class to become the next chief, or maybe that's what he's told them, is that he wants to be the next chief of police when Chief Hibbs leaves, or whatever. Well, I mean, there's some of your information sharing going on right there, Chief Hibbs. Um, people want to talk. People are tired of, I guess whatever. They're just tired of the environment. I don't know. Um, so anyway, again, like I said, is Jacksonville getting a new police chief? I don't know. I'm not even going to say that is a confirmed fact or not, because I don't think it is. But I think there's probably captains up there bidding for that position. At least one I know, because he's finally getting to go to a class, evidently, that has cost a lot of money, and the city hasn't been able to pay for it. And he's finally getting to go. And he is, it's because he's made captain and he needs some type of supervision class or whatever else, maybe. And from my understanding, he wants to be the next chief, or maybe he's going to be the next chief. Captain Wright, if that's true, um, man, I hope I hope you follow through with all those things you said as a sergeant, and as a lieutenant when I was there, because you can fall back and remember all those times that those people were coming down on you and you were scared for your job and everything else. And me and you had lengthy conversations, right, about things. But, maybe they flipped you. Maybe you're one of the captains now. Maybe you're one of the people that, you're on a manhunt. You're going to look for people. You're going to fire whoever, you find out giving out information and everything. Well, maybe you're the one that's running your mouth a little bit. Maybe you're talking to too many people. Maybe you're talking to too many officers up there or too many supervisors. And those people are getting out information and everything else because they don't know what's going on. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know, whatever. But I'm going to tell you that there should be change, and I'm proud of Lieutenant Steve Bowden. Hey, thank you for calling, Mr. Harrelson, and thank you for being professional like you were, and that's a change. And guys, people that follow my page, all my followers out there, hey, hit like this video, comment on this video. Please tell me what you think. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks or in the next week or so, we'll get some more body cam footage of people having problems in Jacksonville. Guys, if you follow my page, if you're here local in Jacksonville, if you have a run-in with the police department, if you have problems with the police department, if you have questions about something, an interaction that you had with the police department, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on my YouTube channel here. Send me a comment or whatever, and I'll see what I can do to reach out to you. It means the world to me. And like I said, with each one of you guys' help and all the auditors out there that are doing this across the nation, I do believe change is coming, and it's good. Like I said, hell, change might be coming to Jacksonville from what I understand, but I don't know. I can't say that that's fact. I can't say that that is 100% true. I can't say that might be rumor. Maybe the cat got out of the bag up there at the police department. Maybe Chief Hibbs is fixing to retire. Maybe he has talked to Captain Ryan Wright. There's a lot of things. I don't know why Captain Betterton wouldn't want Chief, or, I also, have been told that, maybe Captain Lett over in CID, she's going to be retiring here in the next couple of months, and there's probably going to be another couple of retirements in the next couple of months. So, hey, congratulations to the ones that can get out there and retire, I guess maybe. I don't know. Maybe that'll help some of the patrolmen, the sergeants, and the lieutenants down below get some breathing room. I don't know. But I can tell you that the leading by fear, the threatening, the we're going to find out who's giving out information, and we're going to do everything we can to get you fired. That's wrong. And Jacksonville Police Department, you should be ashamed of yourself. Chief, you should be ashamed of yourself, and the captain should be ashamed of themselves if they're the ones making the threats. If the patrol lieutenants are the ones making the threats, you should be ashamed of yourself. But again, we'll just have to wait and see, right? What's going to be coming this year? What's going to be coming up? again, like I said, do we have a new police chief in the making? Maybe we do. Maybe that's what he's going to class for. Um, and I wish him all the luck in the world for him going to his class. I hope he does real good, and I hope he learns a lot on supervision and everything. And I hope that he can maybe spread that information out below him. And hey, maybe Mayor Elmore is helping prep him to make him the next police chief. Who knows? Again, we'll have to wait and see what the saga tells for Captain Ryan Wright. We'll also have to see what happens with Chief Hibbs. Again, like I said, I don't see him going anywhere. He's he bleeds Jacksonville Police Department. Thought maybe he was going to do a lot better than what he's doing. But, in my opinion, I don't think so. So, guys, until next time, please, again, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. Appreciate you sticking around with me tonight. Again, Mr. Helson, I'm glad we got everything worked out for you, or I'm glad the police department got everything worked out for you. I am glad that they came forward and apologized, or at least one of them did. The other one kind of snowballed the apology, and it didn't seem very professional. But then again, I don't think he's a very talkative and professional person, and he don't like conflict. And so until next time, again, thanks for watching Toe the Line. My name is John, and we'll see you next week.